So today we're talking about box plots. The big thing about box plots is vocabulary. So most of these you already know. Lower quartile, upper quartile, and interquartile are the ones that are going to kind of be very, very different. The first things first, when you have data, if they give you data and they're asking you to go ahead and make a box plot, the first thing you're going to have to do is go ahead and put things in order from least to greatest. So I would do 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, or there's 3 fours. So 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8. Once you've done that, let's do a little text box right here. There we go. 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and plot your minimum and your maximum. So my minimum is 3, my maximum is 8. And then you're going to plot your median. So there's 10 pieces of data. So we actually end up with 2 middles, which means that the middle of 5 and 6 is 5.5. The next thing that you're going to plot is your lower quartiles. So what this means is that when I look at the lower half of the data, I find the median of the lower half, which means that my median would be 4. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another dot right there. And then you would do the same thing with the upper half. Now, since the median is in between, we can actually just split this data down the middle. I'll show you on another one how you cannot do that. So then you'd have 7. So to create your box plot, you're going to go ahead and connect your lower quartile and your minimum and your upper quartile and your maximum. Ooh, this is the hard part. I'm not very good at this, especially with my mouse. And then you're going to make a box, and then the line right there in the middle is going to end up being your median. So median, lower quartile, upper quartile, minimum, maximum. So now in this case right here, this is the one that I was telling you about. It's a little bit different because the median is actually 10. So if you actually have a median, it kind of changes things. If you notice, I'm just plotting my median, my minimum, and then I'm going to go ahead and plot my maximum right here. Okay. So in this case, you're not going to include the median, and we're going to do the lower half and the upper half. So if you notice, 4 and 15 are my lower quartile and my upper quartile. And then you'll do the same thing again, create a terribly looking box. Oh, how terrible. And then connect the upper and the maximum. This looks so beautiful. You know what? Let's just go on to my, there we go. That's nice and pretty. Okay. So minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and your maximum. Okay. If you get confused and you're kind of like, I can't remember where to label things, here's a really great graph to go ahead and label them. If you notice the interquartile range, that's just from the quartiles. Like, so from the lower and the upper, it's the difference. That's what range means. Remember, range is your maximum minus your minimum. So the interquartile range is saying inside the quartiles, what's the range? One thing to remember is that each one of these sections is actually 25% of the data. A box plot is really just a summary of the data. It doesn't tell you all the little pieces. It just gives you a summary. And that summary is actually telling us that from the minimum to the lower quartile is 25% of the data, 25% of the data, 25% of the data, and 25% of the data. So in this case, your minimum would be 10. My maximum would be 22. My range is 22 minus 10, so I'd get 12. My median is this middle line right here, so 18. Lower quartile, upper quartile, and your interquartile range is when you subtract them. The big thing here is going to be vocabulary. So once again, here's another box plot. Minimum is at 2. Maximum's at 10. The range is 10 minus 2, which is 8. The median is the line right there in the middle of the box, which is 6, lower, upper, and then the interquartile is when you subtract them. Okay, so when we're looking at this right here, it says the median of the data. That should be pretty easy. It's 85. Now, if there are 24 students in the class, how many are in each quartile? So it's saying how much are in each of these fourths. Well, hopefully you're thinking, wait, a fourth, so 24 divided by 4 would be 6, and that would be correct. That means we would have 6 here, 6 here, 6 here, and 6 here. So this part of the data represents 6 students, 6 students, 6 students, and then 6 students. So if there are 24 students in the class, like we just said, how many scored a 78 or better? Well, this was the 78 right here. So this would be 78. So a 78 or better, there's 3 quartiles there. So we know it'd be 6, 12, and 24. Wait, what did I say? 6, 12, and 24? Just kidding. 6, 12, and 18. I can count, I promise. Okay, so this part right here, it just says compare and contrast the box plots. The difference between these box plots, if you notice, the minimum's still the same, the lower quartile, the median, and the maximum. The only difference here is that upper quartile, right? So this one would be 22 and this one's 21. The big thing though here is that if you have a different upper quartile, then that means the inside or the interquartile is going to be different. If you notice, this one's longer, so this one would have a greater one than this one right here. And then here are some test scores from first and second period. This is not actually my first and second period, but it says which class period had the lowest score. So if you notice, the lowest score would be your minimum. This one, first period had a minimum score of 60. Second period had a minimum score of 70. So first period had the lowest score. Which class period had the higher median? So we'd be looking at that middle line right here. And if you notice, second period would definitely have the higher median because this one's 80 and this one's 85. And then it says which class period had a greater range of scores. So the range is the maximum minus the minimum. So it would be first period because it has more numbers within it. And then we could even ask the question, which class did better? And second period would have done better because if you notice, 50%, because 25 and 25, 50% got 85 or greater on the test, but also everybody in second period passed that test, whereas first period didn't have everybody pass because you had some kids get below 70. So that is box plots. If you are in my pre-AP class, you're going to be doing SKN, and if you're going to be in my academic class, you're going to be doing, if you're in my academic class, you'll be doing E9F. Both of you need a 70% or greater. And then also make sure you're doing your Dreambox lessons 5 by Friday. Have a great day.